How many times have you heard a quote that stopped you dead in your tracks and completely shifted your perspective?
Today we're about to give you guys a bunch of quotes that changed our perspective. Hey babes,
I'm Madeline.
and I'm Deja.
And welcome back to the Elegance Exchange. So honestly, this is going to probably be one of our favorite episodes. We always love a good quote episode.
And sometimes we can't help it. Like sometimes someone says something or we read a quote and we're like, dang, like
Whoa.
that was kind of changing. Like
exactly.
Okay, we got it.
So yeah, we're gonna give you some of our personal favorites that we have found. None of these quotes are ours, you know, we're not gonna take credit where credit is due. But they truthfully do really shift your perspective and kind of change your whole identity and world and how you think of things.
And then we're also gonna share some of our experiences too relating to these quotes as well.
Let's start off with one of Deja's quotes.
Okay, one of my first quotes is, "The biggest regret in life won't be what you did, but what you didn't do." And I heavily relate to that because I'm very big on like, I would much rather not regret doing it than like actually going and doing it. So for instance, I actually did this a week ago, but for instance, I went to the fair and there was this ride that I wanted to ride. It was my favorite ride ever. And I was like, dang, I was like, you know, it's fine, like I'm not gonna ride it, like we didn't have time to ride it. And I'm like, okay, like I don't really care. And then I kept thinking about it. Every time I passed it, I was like, man, I really hate I didn't ride that. I really hate that I didn't ride that. Like it actually was like eating up my soul. And then you're kind of
insane.
Yeah, and you're kind of thinking like, Deja, it's just a ride. But like legitimately, I was like, man, like I haven't rode that thing in forever. So then I ended up going back and I was like, you know what, we're gonna try and shoot my shot. And then I asked to ride it and I did. And then I was like, you know what, that felt so much better. I felt more calm. I was so glad I rode that instead of, you know, me 2 days ago where I was like, oh my gosh, like,
why didn't I do that?
Exactly, like why did I not go on that ride?
Exactly, and kind of going with what Deja said, I always think that it's better to be cringy in somebody else's eyes than live with that regret of not filming yourself or not making memories. So just go out, take the photos, take the videos, it doesn't matter, who cares? Literally the other day I was doing yoga on the beach, I had a tripod set up, I looked crazy, I'm sure to most people, I got stared at, you know, it is what it is. And I was filming these little flowers that I thought was so cute, and this couple walked past me and I could see the guy kind of give me a side eye, he was like, oh, she's crazy. But you know what, am I ever gonna see them again? No, who cares? And now I have that memory.
Exactly, and then speaking of memories, a little side note, we also just filmed a video on that, so definitely go check into our playlist to go learn more about that. But my second quote is, if you don't like the way things are, look at it at a different perspective. And this one relates back to my high school, and I think this is honestly one of the lessons.
Such a candid event.
Exactly.
So
like,
candid.
One of the lessons, I was like, man, like, that really sucked at the time, but I'm so glad I learned it. But at the time, I was this flute solo for like the main senior show. Like every senior was fighting for the solo. And then I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna try, I don't wanna start any trouble, and then I'm gonna let go of it, and I gave up the solo. And at the time I was like, man, like what was I thinking? Like I really gave it up.
Why did I do that?
Exactly, like why did I not do that? But it turns out, it ended up being one of the best decisions of my life because my, I guess call it my little sister, my band little sister ended up getting the flute solo, and it was her first really big moment in band at the time. And I remember like watching her play it and it's honestly one of my favorite memories, but I remember watching her play it at the competition we were at, and her family was the loudest people cheering for her in that crowd, and like she got such a big round of applause. It was like her moment, and I'm like, even now I still think about it, I'm like, that legitimately is such a core memory. Like if I could go back and give up that solo, I would have done it in an instant. So even though at the time the situation that I was in where I felt like I had to give it up to, you know, kind of simmer down tension and stuff like that, I felt like was very unfair. And it was like, you know, what were you thinking? But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what, I'm really glad I gave that up because she ended up getting it. Yeah, she gave it was someone else's time, it was someone else's moment. I was like, you know what, I don't regret a single bit of it. So if things don't work out the way you want it to, look at it more and like look at it from a different angle and look at more on the positive side of it.
Exactly. I know for me, my last couple of years of high school were not it. They were not fun. I do not want to ever have to relive this.
They never are, to be honest.
But I am so glad that all of the crap that happened, all of the things that I hated, and you know, all of the things that I cried about happened because truthfully, we've become a better person because of it. We started 100%. This podcast to help other people. We, you know, have such a different mindset than we did when we were younger because we had to go through these things and face this in order to grow as a person. So a lot of the times you just have to shift your perspective and how you're looking at things. And I know it's so hard, and
Yeah,
especially
like-
if you're in a really tough situation, you don't
Like,
wanna
that's
do
the
it.
last thing you want to do. Like, the last thing you want to do is be like...
Try and be positive
be
about
like,
something.
oh,
Yeah, no.
exactly. Like, look on the bright side. And you're like, are you joking? Like, what are you talking about?
So, one of my next quotes, it's not really a quote, it's more so just kind of that like perspective shifter, is they said you're ugly. Well, thank goodness they didn't say that you were mean, or thank goodness they didn't say that you weren't inclusive to them or that you left them out. I think a lot of the times we get so in our head about our looks. I know I do, you know, I model, so all the time I'm like, oh, do I look good there? Or, oh, is that really what they think of me? But honestly, we have so much more than our bodies and our faces. And a lot of the times we have to remember that what we see in the mirror isn't who we actually are. There's so much more to us. And I would always rather be known as, I would rather somebody comment on my looks versus my personality.
And I feel like too, like if someone has it for you, like they just want to tear you down, and the only
That's what they're
negative
going
thing
for.
they can say is your looks. They can't say anything negative about your personality. They can't say anything negative about your goals, your drive. If they're one thing that they can be mad at you for is your looks, trust me, you are fine. You are fine, and honestly,
Exactly.
it shows more about the person themselves than you.
A lot of the times that's coming from a place of jealousy. We've all had those people that feel the need to comment on anything and everything that we do simply because they are miserable. And so just know that, you know, if they are only commenting on your looks, that means you have a lot of things going for you, and they probably don't even mean it.
Yes, or like I said, it's just a last resort. Like they're
Exactly.
they're like,
oh, I don't have anything else, so let
Like-
me just go after their looks.
exactly.
All right, so Deja's next quote.
Don't end the book because of a bad chapter. I know in our life, I know
Oh,
life,
that was good.
life is filled with so much stuff. Life is just a book. There's your good chapters, there's those really, really bad chapters. There's those chapters where you're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I finally finished that chapter because that was the longest chapter of my life. Like,
You're like,
life
"Oh."
is just simply a book. But I know we always have bad chapters, and then we just want to, we have moments in our life where
We just
something
want to skip.
exactly
Jump forward.
we have moments in our life where we're like, okay, well, you know, that was terrible. Now I gotta ruin literally everything. We gotta scratch everything off. And but like you can't. It's life. You're gonna have that one bad chapter, and then you kind of have to keep going because there's so much more. And like I said, like relating to this, I took a calculus class, and that was the first class I have ever not passed.
Yeah.
As an AB
That's a hard
student,
class.
exactly. As an
It's a
AB
hard
student,
class.
I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm a failure. Like I gotta change my whole major. Like I gotta drop out of school. Like I was like rushing everything, and
Do
I
you
was
remember
like,
that time?
yes, like it's just
Yeah.
terrible. But now, you know, looking back at it, I'm like, you know, you can't just scratch off everything. You can't just
No.
choose a whole different degree because you did not pass a class. You retake it, and then you learn from it, and you keep going forward, and you keep improving from there. You can't just be like, all right, time to wrap things up. We're
Everything's
skipping it.
over. My life's over.
Book is closed. That's it.
Done. No, and think about it this way. So many main characters deal with so much. They have problems coming at them left and right.
Left, right, up, down.
But you know what? They're the main character because they have problems, but they can also work through those problems, and they don't let them stop their book. Think about it this way. If your main character just got injured and then the book stopped, you'd be so mad. You'd be like, what the
That's
heck?
it. That's
What?
it. Like what did we not do? We didn't fix it. We didn't
Like,
do anything.
what? Plot twist, but no clip. Like, no. So you can't do that to you can't do that to your story. You have to finish your story. And it's so hard. Like we said, you never want to try and be positive about something, but you just have to persevere and you have to make it through that moment. And it's so hard, but if somebody else can do it, you can do it.
And you are in charge of your own book. Just
Yes.
because something bad happens to you, you don't have to close it and shut it down immediately.
And that kind of brings me into my next quote. Just because you love the ocean doesn't mean you have to drown in it. Yeah, that's a hard one. Because
Yep.
especially with relationships and friendships, you know, you might love that person. You might love who they are, what they stand for, but at the end of the day, you know that you are not compatible or you are not meant for each other. Things just aren't working the way they should. All right, just because you love them, it doesn't mean that you have to let them drag you down, or it doesn't mean that you have to drag them down. It can go both ways. Especially maybe I know this is kind of what happened to me. I loved a sport that I did in high school. I loved it so much. It was my world. It was my whole entire personality for a hot minute. But I was drowning. I was drowning. I was so depressed. I was so insecure. I had so many issues. And you know what? The second I left that sport, everything got better. Sometimes you just have to get out of the water. You have to get out. You can look at it from afar and love it, but sometimes you just can't be in it.
And I feel like it's hard to, like, for you to make that realization, but when you do, you need to just start making those little steps and those little adjustments too. Exactly. Because, like, at the end of the day, it is your life. You are your person. And as selfish as it sounds, you have to do things that work best for you. Yeah. It's only fair to yourself.
All right, what's your next one? What you got?
And then, I guess, speaking of that, relating to Madeline's, we're kind of like going back and forth. Just because you fit in doesn't mean you belong. And I've seen a lot of experience. I've seen a lot of, like, different people and the way, because, you know, growing up, everyone wants to fit in. Like, it's a human thing. Like, no one wants to feel left out, and it's a terrible feeling when you do feel left out. So you kind of
tweak your personality.
You kind of tweak around. You kind of do anything and everything you can to just fit into a group. And then once you're like finally in this group, like for instance, maybe you have a friend and they're like, oh, let me introduce you to my other friend group. And you go and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm finally in a like really good friend group. But they go and they do these things, like they smoke, they party all the time, they drink, they're mean to other people. You don't want to be associated with those people. Like you're kind of like, you're looking at them and you're like, okay, wait a second. So just because you fit in, you're like, oh, I have a group, I have a friend group now, does not mean that you belong with those group of people, because, you know, you don't want to be associated with that, because if anything, you are a reflection of the people around you are a reflection of who you are. And I will stick to that till the day I die.
You pick up so many habits from people. You really do. And do you want one of those habits that you pick up to be smoking? No.
No.
Do you want one of those habits to be getting so blackout drunk that you can even process your life? No.
Or that, or like ruining other people, picking on other people because your friend group doesn't like them. Like, oh, we don't like this girl, so we're just gonna go and bully her.
No. That's not okay. And if your friends are doing that, you don't want to be friends with them anyway. So truthfully, shifting the way that you perceive things and who you hang out with, that's going to help you the most in life, because like we said, you know, you really do pick up the habits from other people. And a lot of the times, because it's very prevalent, everybody sees it, and their other friends and just people that they know acquaintance wise, they go off the rocker. They get in this new friend group and they change themselves so much simply because they're, you know, around these people that are not good influences for them. And a lot of the times that makes them weak. It makes them not stick to their moral standards. And you don't want to be the person that's weak and not sticking to what they, you know, belong.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, you do not have to be there.
My next quote is, the most selfish people are the ones who care about what people think. Okay? And this is a hard one to grasp, because I used to be the world's biggest people pleaser. I mean, you can ask Deja. My senior year of high school, I was such a people pleaser. I cared so much about what people thought of me because I was in a situation that was not good for me. And you know what? I was really selfish because I cared so much about what other people thought of me versus what I cared about myself, you know, like how I cared about myself.
I do feel like so many people
get so in your head.
Yes, like that's all it is. Like, you're just in your head and you're like, okay, I want these people to think of me in this way, this way, this way. It's the same thing with like some popularity contests too, because I feel like, especially in high school, I think it's just high school. High school is the biggest.
I'm sorry, I am not.
High school is where you're gonna learn most of your life lessons, because so much stuff happens. You're around so many people.
That'll do it.
But like, especially with high school and the social standard, like sometimes like people, like when you're kind of thinking like, oh, I want people to think that I'm really, really cool, like I want to do all this like really cool stuff, and then it's like going and like messing around with like the nice kid, or like, you know, snatching stuff.
Things.
Exactly. Or like, I'm gonna go run for this position because I want to look good in front of other people, even though I just joined the club and the person that's already been in the club has been working their way to it. Like, it's when you think
a popularity contest.
Exactly. When you think about ways to make you feel better, you're kind of contrasting with someone else. Like, you have to tear someone else down to make you be perceived as a better person.
And there is a difference, you know, obviously, being a people pleaser and being selfish. I'm not saying that, like, if you try to help other people and you can't say no to them, you know, asking you for help, that you're selfish. What I'm saying is sometimes we get a little too in our heads and we care a little too much about what people think of us and how they perceive us. And then sometimes we do stupid things because we're like, oh, I want to be cool, I want to fit in. No, don't do that.
Or it's always like, how will this person think of me? Me. Like, it's just,
It's always, yeah.
you just do get a little selfish.
So, yeah.
And to wrap up my last quote for this video, you attract what you put out.
Oh, yes.
So that's very, very
yes.
big on energy too. Like, if you are a very negative person, you're gonna attract other negative people. Whereas, like, if you're like full of love, you're full of high energy, you're full of just positive vibes, you're gonna attract other people that are also giving that vibe. Because, like, people feel that from a mile away. It's also the same thing with your impression. Like, that's why first impressions are very, very good. Because people see that and they're like, okay, well, she looks really nice, like, she looks really bubbly, like, I'm gonna go talk to her.
She smiled at me.
Exactly. But, like, if you give off mean girl energy, you're gonna attract other mean girls.
Nobody wants to be in a mean friend group. No, I don't. Our friend group always tries to build other people up. We don't go around and be like, oh, she's dressed weird, why is she wearing that? No.
Or yeah,
No.
like, I'd be embarrassed if I was in her shoes. No, like,
I'm embarrassed to be around people that are acting like that.
and it's like, you know, you want people to come up to you, like, you want to be inviting, you want people to look at you and be like, oh, she has such good energy and stuff. Like, you don't want to be like, oh my god, I'm scared to be near her because, you know, she seems really mean, or like she looks mean. Like, that's not the energy you want to be putting out.
No. My last quote kind of goes with that. And it's talking about what you give power to will always have power over you. So maybe there is a person in your life that is constantly picking on you, and you let them get to you. You let them have that power over you because you focus on it. You focus on what they're saying and how it's making you feel, and so that gives them all the power. Why are you giving them that power over you? Okay? Because you know what? If somebody's picking on me now, I'd be like, okay, well, they're insecure in themselves. There's something going on at home. There's something going on in their brain, okay? It's not me. It's a reflection on them. And I'm going to take that energy that they bounce at me, and it's just going to bounce right off of me. That's exactly what you need to do. You don't want to give those people the power over you, because then you're just going to feel sorry for yourself. And like Deja said, you attract what you feel and how you act. And you don't want to attract more people like that.
No, and then it's the same thing, like, whatever you're choosing, whatever you're not actively changing, you're choosing.
Oh, that's my favorite quote.
So, like,
so good.
If you know these things have power over you, if you know, like, you can't say no, or there's no boundary between you and that, it's just constantly gonna, you know, you're just actively choosing to accept that and be in that position. And no one wants to be in that position. You don't want to have to feel like something is restraining you or something has some type of control over you. You have to let it go.
Exactly. So these quotes hopefully shifted your perspective a little bit, maybe. At least one did. And yeah, with that being said, we are on a bunch of different social media platforms.
Yep, we're on TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, Instagram Threads now.
Yes.
We're on a brand new one. But
We're
our
trying
most,
that out.
Exactly. But our most common one is TikTok and YouTube, and you can kind of catch us anywhere else as well.
Exactly. So there's going to be a link to our season 3 playlist here and a video that YouTube thinks you will like, or if you're on Spotify, you'll see nothing, but you know, sorry. But down in our description, there will also be a link to another video that is kind of related to this, so you can get some more ideas, because that first episode we did on quotes that changed your perspective, so good. One of our favorite episodes to this day, so definitely check it out. All right, with that being said, we love you.
Bye babes.